As unemployment numbers continue to rise and claims hit historic levels in California, some are turning to gig work to make ends meet.
That income is gone, and unemployment is not going to cover a lot of their costs. So this is a wonderful advantage for them to take hold of to make up those losses.
The latest criticism of California's new law, AB5, suggests it's standing in the way of helping the state's economy scratch back from the pandemic.
And just when they need the flexibility, AB5 has come along and stifled it and greatly limited it. I don't think that Californians who are hurting can afford the limitations forced on them by AB5.
Free market think tank, the Independent Institute in Oakland, penned an open letter to state leaders calling for a suspension of AB5, saying it's having unintended consequences.
Well, I think it would be the worst time to suspend it. These companies are billion-dollar companies who are publicly traded. They have enough money to treat their workers correctly.
Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez introduced AB5 and subsequent bills making adjustments. The law requires employers to reclassify some so-called gig workers and provide them with benefits like unemployment, health insurance, and workers' compensation. It's drawn the ire of app-based giants like Uber and Lyft and prompted lawsuits from truckers and other freelancers. There is mixed reaction from drivers.
A worker is a worker. The cost of labor is at any place, at any time, is minimum wage and benefits. And anything other than that is unacceptable.
But nobody's twisting their arm to do this, to create this business, to be an entrepreneur on the road. And that's the way I look at it.
Patricia Mulholland is part of the coalition behind the November ballot measure that would exempt app-based companies from AB5. The campaign's funded in part by Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash. The group says if passed, it would also guarantee drivers more than minimum wage, a health care contribution, and more.
Does the fact that people are vulnerable and have to find work immediately and will work for any pay mean that you should step all over them?
Lyft driver Idan Alva is part of Gig Workers Rising, a campaign fighting for better wages and benefits. They say the pandemic has highlighted the need for these companies to pay into unemployment insurance and provide benefits to drivers.
They're not only exempting themselves in the future out of basic protections for the workers, but they're exempting their past due to the state of California, which means law-abiding businesses and taxpayers are going to have to pick up that fund.
The legislative fight even reached former Vice President Joe Biden. The presumptive Democratic presidential nominee tweeted his opposition to the ballot measure, writing, "Gig economy giants are trying to gut the law." Lyft deferred to the coalition for this story. Uber did not respond to our request.
It's incredible during this time period that we have companies who want to exempt themselves out of basic labor protections for the workers.
When people are free to offer their services as independent contractors, they can find their niche, they can flex, they can find a way forward, they can support themselves.
Uber and Lyft are also facing a lawsuit from the California Attorney General, accusing the ride-hailing companies of being in violation of the new law. Greg Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.